Okay, Pirkei Avos. We're up to Perek Dalid, Mishnah Yud Beis, which I think I have the other one here. I think it's Yud Dalid. Double check. No, Tezvav. Right, so chapter 4, Mishnah 15. In this version, it's Mishnah Yud Beis. Says the Mishnah, Rabbi ben Shmuel Omer. Rabbi ben Shmuel says, "He kavod talmidcha chavev alecha keshelcha." The honor of your student should be dear to you like your own honor. So a person has a student, and his honor should be like my honor. I should want to honor him like I want others to honor me. The kavod chavercha k'moire rabcha, and the honor with which one honors their friend should be the same as the fear, as the moira, or as the awe that they had towards their teacher. U'moire rabcha k'moire shemayim, and the fear, the awe that one has of the Rabbi should be similar to that which one has of a Kadosh Baruch. Right? So it seems like we're upping everything one notch. We would think that a student's covered is not the same as the Rebbe's covered. The friend's covered, the friend's honor is not the same as the person's Rebbe's honor. And the Rebbe's not like a Kadosh Baruch Hu, but the Mishnah is telling us that we have to up everyone's covered one notch. It says the Rabbeinu Yona, lest the person think the Mishnah is saying we should honor a person, we should have be in awe of a person as much as possible. Is the Mishnah saying that you should honor everyone and be in awe of everyone on the same same level? Says Rabbeinu Yona, no. Everyone should be honored according to what's appropriate for him. A person should not honor his student the way he honors his friend. But the Mishnah is telling us is that one has to be careful not to lessen the honor one has towards his student, towards his friend, and towards his Rebbe. One has to make sure the honor is appropriate. Therefore, I guess the Mishnah is telling us, whatever we think is appropriate, up it one notch, but not more than that. So a person might have a tendency to, his students, whatever, they're on a lower level than he is, at least in the knowledge, and maybe in the piety. So therefore, he might be mezalzel, he might not treat them with the proper respect. Mishnah is saying, the respect you have for yourself, you should have for your student. But the respect one has for one's friend, for the chavrusa, let's say, should be higher than that of the student. And the respect one has for one's teacher should be higher than that of the friend. So Ben Yonah is teaching us, don't think the Mishnah is saying, just honor everyone more than they deserve. The Mishnah is telling us to honor everyone on the appropriate level, but to up it one notch. Rashi actually, interestingly, says the reason why a person should have honor for a student like himself, because the Rebbe really should view the student, when the student receives honor, that's because he's showing what he learned from his Rebbe. So in a sense, when a student does well on a test, right, that reflects positively on the teacher. If everybody in the class got in the 60s on the test in the 70s, the problem is not most likely is in the teacher, not in the students. Because the performance of a student reflects the Rebbe's abilities. So according to Rashi, the Mishnah is saying that your student's honor really is yours. Because what the student is able to do is a reflection of what the Rebbe, the teacher, was able to give over to the student. An interesting mahalach from Rashi. But Rabbeinu Yona is saying that we have to make sure we respect everyone appropriately, and we should up it one notch. He goes on to say that Yira, if you notice, the Mishnah is changing between kavod and Yira. By the student, by the friend, it's kavod, and by the Rebbe, by Hashem, it's Yira. So he says that Yira is more inclusive, or presupposes there's going to be honor. Anything that a person is in awe of, he's obviously honoring it. So he says that a person has to be in awe of his Rebbe, because his Rebbe is like a Kadosh Baruch Hu, that his Rebbe teaches him Torah and brings him into the next world, the world to come. Therefore, there's a certain awe that a person has to have for the Rebbe. That's what he says. Okay. The Mishnah continues. Rabbi Yehuda says, Havizar b'Talmud, one must be careful with learning Torah, with Talmud. Sheshigagas Talmud, oile zadon. A person makes a mistake in learning, that is considered to be, so a person forgot what he learned, and then he paskin the shaila, or he did something based on what he learned, what he forgot. So you might want to say that's considered a shoygeg. That's like being Mechal Shabbos by accident. If a person said, yeah, you can write with a pencil on Shabbos, it's erasable, right? The halacha really is that it's awesome. but he forgot that halacha, and he paskin for others and for himself, and he did it. So you might say that that is a inadvertent transgression, and he has to bring a korban chatas. And we're learning these parshas, that a person is mechal Shabbos by accident. He forgot it was Shabbos. He forgot this was answer. It's not considered premeditated. He brings a korban, brings a sacrifice, and he's fine. The Mishnah is telling us, Rabbi Yehuda is telling us, if a person does the wrong thing because he forgot the halacha, he learned it. He learned the Gemara. He learned the Shulchan Aruch. He forgot the halacha. That's considered to be mazid. That's considered to be on purpose. Explains the Rabbeinu why is that. Sheyachzor hadvarim ad kilo yuchal l'shkoich davar ad she'er d'umkin shel dvarim. A person, and we can say this is referring to a person who's relying on his knowledge to know what to do. He has an obligation to review what he's learning to the point that he can't forget it. Because a person, we have to understand that our nature is that it's hard for us to understand the Torah. A person hears a song, right? That stays with him for his entire life. You can hear a song, let's say multiple times when you're in your teenage years, let's say, 15, 16, the song you loved. You heard that song, let's say 50 times, right? Even 10 times. 60 years later, you remember the song, right? But Torah is not like that. Torah is hard. We shouldn't feel bad when we learn and we learn and we learn and we forget. Yona is telling us Torah is hard. The nature of a person is hard. He falls short of understanding the wisdom of the Torah. And forgetfulness is very common amongst people. We learned in the first parak that a person, when he's learning Torah, the first Mishnah said one of the advice he received was having the sunim bedin. When the din Torah comes to you, even though you've seen it many times, you have to be muslim, you have to be calm. So I think it's there. If it's not there, it's not one of the other Mishnahs there where the Yona says that often what we would think our first impression in understanding something in Torah, learning a Gemara, a Sugya, is usually wrong. Our first impression is usually wrong, and the Torah is saying the opposite of what we would have thought. It also makes it hard to remember it because logic will go one way, and the Torah says a different way, or seemingly our logic would tell us that it should be one way, and the Torah says another way. So therefore, it's hard to remember Torah. So if a person doesn't review properly, and he's going to decide what to do based on what he learned, he's really doing an Aveira premeditatedly, because by not reviewing, essentially he's saying that I don't really care what the Torah says. Because if he did, he'd make sure he reviews. A person who knows that Torah is easy to forget, and still he doesn't review, he's called negligent, not inadvertent transgression. He should have realized that he could make a mistake. So I think we shared this Maisa a couple of times, but it's a great Maisa, a great story with Rabbi Moshe Feinstein. So Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, it was Sukkot. He was sitting in a sukkah, and he was giving a shir, or he was discussing something about sukkah, the mitzvah of sukkah, and there was a balabas there, and Rabbi Moshe quoted a Gemara, let's say on Daf Yud Gimel, Masechah Sukkah, and the balabas said, no, it's Daf Yud Beis. And Rabbi Moshe said back to him, no, the halacha we're discussing is found on Daf Yud Gimel. And again, the balabas, no, it's Daf Yud Beis. They go back and forth, back and forth. Rabbi Moshe got up, and his sukkah was downstairs. He lived on whichever floor it was in the tenement in the Lower East Side. He ran upstairs, and he brought down a Gemara, and you see, it's Daf Yud Gimel, I was right. Atkan, the exchange between Rav Moshe and his balabas. So then afterwards, the Talmud asked him, one of his students asked him, Rabbi, anivus, being humble, humility, that's like one of your most chashuv midas that you have. It seems to be inconsistent what you did this morning with what you teach us and how you act in general. But Moshe said, I don't know if he quoted this Mishnah, but he said, I paskin from my memory. That's how he paskin. He doesn't look everything up every single time he paskin. If I see that I'm forgetting, then I can't paskin anymore. If it was sukkah daf yud beis and not daf yud gimel, I wouldn't be able to paskin. So it's not that I was being arrogant with him. I have to know if my memory is starting to fail me as a person gets older. That's what happens. Hopefully not, but sometimes. If my memory is starting to fail me, I have to stop paskining. The kachava, that is exactly what happened. When Rav Moshe Feinstein forgot a Mishnah, he knew Mishnah is Baal Peh, as well as many other things. He knew all Mishnah is Baal Peh. He forgot a Mishnah, he stopped paskining. Because Shignas Talmud Oilazogin, because this Mishnah Pirkei Avos, that we know Torah is hard to come by and easy to lose. If a person is not going to review it, he's going to pass on his memory, so it's considered to be a Pesheya, it's considered to be negligent. It's a responsibility. Torah is a responsibility. Okay, so that is that part of the Mishnah. The Mishnah continues. Rabbi Shimon says, Shloisha Kesarim Heim. There are 3 crowns. There are 3 crowns. Keser Torah, the crown of Torah. Keser Kahuna, the crown of Kahuna. The Keser Malchus, and the crown of the king. The Keser Shem Tov Oila Al Gabein. But the crown of a good name is Oila, goes above all of them. So Stam Mishnah is a little bit difficult. It says there are 3 crowns, and then it lists the Keser Shem Tov is really a 4th crown. There are 3 crowns on the same level, and there's a 4th crown that's even on a different level. So sum total, there are 4 crowns. There are 3 equal crowns, so to speak, and there's one that's Oila Alein, it's on top. Says the Rabbeinu Yona, so Keser Kahuna, the crown of the Kahanim, that was given to Aaron HaKohen. That was given to Aaron. The Keser Malchus was given to David HaMelech. The Zaroi La'olam Yeh V'kisa K'shemesh Negdi. But only descendants from David HaMelech can be kings. The Keser Torah is Munachas L'chol Boi Olam. The Keser Torah is not a din in genetics. It's not a din in a dynasty. It is open to anyone who wants can come and grab the Keser Torah. Anyone who wants, come and take it. This Keser is Gadol Al Shnei Aksar, and the Keser Torah is greater than Keser Kahuna and Keser Malchus, the crown of the Kohanim and the crown of the king. Why? Because there are 3 zaras here. There are 3 zer. A zer is like a lip that came above the kalim. In the Beis HaMikdash, you had certain kalim that had like a golden kind of crown. It looked like a crown. It's like a jagged edge, like an ornamental thing that went around it. You had the shulchan. The shulchan was which represents the kings. They had the shulchan malachim, the table of the kings. That was in the heichel. We put the lechem upon him. The showbread went on that. That had a zar. The mizbeach hapnimi, the altar inside the heichel, which only put one thing on that altar. That was the ketores. That symbolized Keser Kahuna. Nothing of the Yisraelim went on there. Only the Kohanim's ketores went on there. That was also the heichel. And the zar kapoiris. And there was a little crown, a little zer on top of the kapoiris, on top of the aron. In the aron was the luchos. That obviously refers to the Keser Torah. So the Rabbeinu points out the Keser Torah was the Fnai v'Lifnim. That was mamish inside the Kodesh HaKadoshim, closest to, so to speak, Kodesh Baruch Hu's presence, showing us the Keser Torah is the highest of all the Kesarim. Also, he says that another proof that Keser Torah is the most chashiv, that the other ones, Hashem was miyachid lehem batim. Hashem, you can't just become a king. Hashem, he designated David HaMelech's descendants for the king, and Aaron HaKohen's descendants for the Kahuna. So, therefore, it's limited. So the Keser Torah, anyone who wants to come and take it, that shows that it's miyuchad for Yirei Hashem. That shows that it's on a higher level. The Keser Shem Tov is Oila Al Gabein. The good name, having a good name, goes on top of all of these 3 Kesarim. What does that mean? Says the Rabbeinu Yona, it means that all the Kesarim, all the other crowns, need to have a Shem Tov. If a person wants to be successful as a Kohen, a person wants to be successful as a king, or as a Talmud Chacham, as a Ben Torah, he has to have a Shem Tov. He has to have a good name. Explains the Rabbeinu Yona, Kipamayish Adam Shem Tov. How does a person get a good name? The only way to get a good name is by learning Torah and fulfilling mitzvahs. That's the only way to do it. It says the pasuk Kelos, Tov Shem Mishem and Tov. A good name is better than having good oil. Why? If you put in your house Shemin Afarsim, a good smelling oil, that's a good smell for him and for the Anshe Besa, for his people in his house, and for his neighbors that are close. But if you go away from the good smelling oil, then you can't smell it. You won't be able to smell it. Someone who has a good name, a good reputation, even if he's standing in a Karen Zavis, in a corner over there, zoo, his name and his teachings go from one end of the world to the other end of the world. So, but Zak, the Rabbeinu Yona, the only way to get a Shem Tov, the only way to be successful, the only way to get a Shem Tov, to get a good name, is with Torah and mitzvahs. That means any other good reputation a person has, if it's not through Torah and mitzvahs, it's not really considered to be a good reputation. The only way to achieve a true Shem Tov is with Torah and mitzvahs. Now, does that mean that everyone who learns Torah and mitzvahs, who learns Torah and keeps mitzvahs, has a Shem Tov? It depends how they act. It's a combination of learning Torah, keeping mitzvahs, and obviously acting like the Torah and mitzvahs. But whoever does that is guaranteed to have a Shem Tov. So I would venture to say, we'll end with this, that a Shem Tov doesn't mean that everybody likes it. Because sometimes a person who learns Torah and has exemplary midas, but he sticks to the Torah, will have a bad name because he's surrounded by people who don't appreciate that. But that's not a chisan, that's not considered to be a lacking in Shem Tov. Shem Tov doesn't mean that everybody loves him. Because if you go to a place where they just want, kulas, and they just want to do whatever they want, so if I do that, then I'll have a good name, right? No. So the Shem Tov means, by definition, a person who sticks to the Torah, and he has good midas, but by definition, have a Shem Tov. But I don't think it means that necessarily people like him, because it depends what kind of crowd he's in. In the Hollywood Shtibel crowd, if a person's liked, that means he has a Shem Tov. But in other crowds, lav daf. Okay, we'll hold here. Eli, I'm going to end this meeting so it records it, and then we'll have the daf Shavua in like 2 minutes.
All right. Shkach.
Okay, Schreck, and have a great week.
Have a great day.
Take care.